Welcome to the Book Pharm podcast, a podcast started by two very bored pharmacy technicians looking for a hobby. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
Very good. That was great.
I made my debut saying our intro for the very first time.
Yes, you did amazingly.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, just as a reminder, we read through chapters 15 through 22. Very, very fun. A lot of things happen in these chapters, and it's like having whiplash.
Yes.
So just to recap, Milori and Clarion's relationship is building. They visited the Hall of Winter, where the Keeper had Clarion basically decipher the runes in an ancient tome. The tome told the story of the Dream Talent fairies and origins of the nightmares. Milori then takes Clarion to the Nightmares prison because they believe that Clarion's magic may have some traces of the long-lost Dream Talent magic.
Yeah.
A nightmare ends up escaping and attacks Clarion while she's attempting to repair the Dream Talent's magic, keeping the monsters detained. Clarion gets a cut, but is otherwise fine. Milori and his owl scare off the nightmare, and they take Clarion to the healing talents. Clarion's coat is ruined, and she asks Petra to repair it. Petra is initially upset, but agrees to fix it.
And our characters in these chapters include, yet again, Princess Clarion, who is our, of course, female main character and heir to the Pixie Hollow throne. Milori, Warden of the Winter Woods, and our love interest. We have Patches, who is a royal sewing talent fairy, new face. Ariella, Minister of Summer. No, Aurelia is how you say her name, I think. Aurelia. And then Queen Elvina, current queen of Pixie Hollow. Artemis, Clarion's protector / guard. Noctura, Milori's pet owl. Petra, Clarion's best friend. And Yarrow, a winter healing talent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite the name.
Yeah. Named after an herb.
So I know. I was like, it's kind of hard as a Texan to not say it with like a lazy mouth like yarrow.
Yeah.
And I think it is supposed to be pronounced yarrow.
Oh, really?
But,
okay.
Well.
I always pronounce words wrong, so
me
shows
too.
that I read instead of like listen to people say it. I don't know. That's what I get for reading.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, so Lucy's basically hating on me because I just
No,
listened
I'm
to
not.
all these chapters.
I knew it was going to end up. No,
just playing.
No.
Okay, so to get us started off with chapter 15, Clarion's expeditions into the winter are taking a toll on her. She ended up missing her meeting with Aurelia in the summer realm because she slept in like way into the afternoon. Like she basically says that her hands are tingly from feeling numb from laying on them. That's how you know the nap was good.
Yeah.
So she basically wakes up. She has an appointment with a sewing talent fairy, Patches, to make her a coronation ball gown. Mm-hmm. When Clarion arrives at her fitting, she finds Aurelia, the Minister of Summer, there as well. And Aurelia's going to have her meeting with with Clarion that they were supposed to already have had, but they didn't get to have. So she's like, yeah, Patches wouldn't let me bring all the food that I wanted to show you in here, so we're just going to have to wait till you're done getting fit.
Yeah.
So Clarion goes ahead and she's trying on her gown. It's golden with long, flowing, split and sheer sleeves. Clarion loves it. Yes. I'm sure I would love it too.
Yes.
And then after she tries on the gown, she tries all of the food that Aurelia has brought her. But she's very lost in her thoughts about the nightmares and winter. And then, of course, Milori.
You betcha.
She feels like, oh, yeah. She feels like she shouldn't be planning a party right now because all this other stuff is at stake. She also fears that she can't keep up with all of her other commitments. And Aurelia notices that she's pretty distracted, asks her what's on her mind. So Clarion begins to tell Aurelia of her growing uncertainty in herself as a ruler. She feels that it's all coming way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
Aurelia tells her just to savor the time that she has now and think of who she wants to become and what kind of queen she wants to be.
Mm-hmm.
So Clarion kind of, chews on this thought and wonders, goes into this whole idea of I've always wanted things I shouldn't. And she's
Mm-hmm.
reflected on her earlier actions and everything, and she actually decides that this isn't all true. Clarion's faith in herself is partially restored. Clarion then goes, we kind of fast forward to later in the evening. I'm assuming later in the evening. It's not quite sunset yet.
Yeah.
But Clarion basically goes to meet Milori at the border that night because it's become routine, because she's in love.
Yeah,
And she
girl.
finally starts to allow herself to be comfortable with how he affects her.
Mm-hmm.
She asks him to take her ice skating sometime because Yarrow had previously said that he was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
And he promises to do so. He's still very wary because Clarion got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Clarion tells him not to blame himself. Then she turns around and begins blaming herself.
Yeah.
Milori tells Clarion that things are not her fault, and Clarion says it's because she can't control her magic, and it seems to be the only thing that will help solve their monster issue.
Yeah.
So then Milori has an idea that maybe the way that Queen Elvina has been teaching Clarion doesn't work for her. He reminds her that magic isn't inherent, and not all fairies have to try to use it. He asks her to remember how she felt when her magic manifested itself, and she tells him that she was afraid, and her one thought was to save others. Milori points out that she was being very brave. Clarion attempts to practice her magic by emptying her mind, but she can't focus because Milori is staring at her. The tension is building,
Yeah.
building. She opens her eyes and notices the longing in Milori's eyes, and she realizes he has wanted to kiss her for a long time. So, they kiss.
Yeah.
They kiss, and her magic basically is like a bomb of pixie dust.
Yeah.
And he calls her incredible, and that's how the chapter ends. So you can imagine that as I'm listening to this, driving in my car,
Yeah.
I am absolutely stricken. That was amazing. They finally kissed.
Yes. And it was
And
beautiful
it was
build
so
up.
good.
Yes.
It was
It was
amazing.
great. It was like we were there.
I was there. I
That's
was
right.
there at the border.
Yes. So, next chapter, the kiss has just sent Clarion into an absolute tizzy. Of course, like who wouldn't?
A tizzy!
Yes. She has finally accepted that she really likes Milori. She's even causing the pixie dust tree to sprout flowers and pixie dust with her emotions. Artemis mentions that Clarion is also glowing brighter than ever. She also has a rosy tint about her. But part of Clarion worries that Milori regrets kissing her because everyone has something negative that ruins a happy thought, I always have that happen to me where it's like, oh, this is so amazing. And then it's like, but what if, So she's getting this little bit doubt. Yeah. But she doesn't have much time to dwell on that because Queen Elvina wants to meet with her. The scouts have reported more damage in the warm seasons due to the nightmares. One, in the form of a cat, wreaked havoc in the barn, scaring their mice and breaking carriages. Another, which was in the shape of a fish, swallowed a whole neighborhood of water talent homes. Queen Elvina is in a very good mood. Her plan to cut off winter is almost ready to be executed. Clarion's day is immediately ruined by this news. Petra finished her work for Queen Elvina. It looks to be a sword hilt. It has a sunstone in it, which is explained to be like a moonstone. So in, I think, Tinkerbell and the Lost Treasure, she goes to replace the moonstone she broke. So I'm guessing this sunstone probably looks like that. but this sunstone channels sunlight instead of like moonlight. Elvina explains that Clarion will channel her magic into the sunstone on the summer solstice, and it will create a blade of their magic strong enough to cut through the bridges. And it will be Clarion's first act as queen. Clarion, of course, hates this idea. She actually expresses her frustration.
This is actually terrible.
Yeah, she actually like expresses her frustration to Elvina. Like, she usually will keep it to herself and do whatever she needs to without Elvina knowing, but this time she's like, "Excuse me?" Elvina remains scarily calm and decides to tell Clarion the whole story of what happened between winter and the warm seasons. As Elvina explains it, Queen Titania trusted the first warden to guard the nightmare prison. But then he decided he didn't want to anymore, and he gathered an uprising. Clarion asks why would he feel the need to gather an uprising, right? Why was he so upset? And Queen Elvina gave an excuse about the reason being lost to time. Of course, like, oh, who knows, but he was in the wrong. And then promptly gives her own theory about what happened. Queen Elvina thinks that being exposed to the nightmares for extended periods, like guarding them, allows them to influence your mind and actions. And that's what happened to the first warden. That's all Queen Elvina's theory. We can't necessarily trust that information. Clarion counters Elvina and says that, well, they should help instead of abandon winter. Like, if this is happening to them, that's terrible. We should help them. Elvina explains that it wouldn't be pragmatic because they don't know how to destroy or fight the nightmares. Clarion fights Elvina again on this point. She then calls Elvina's plan to abandon winter to their fate, quote, monstrous. I braced myself when I read this for, like, Elvina to explode. But Elvina, she didn't.
She doesn't.
She just says, Clarion, your kindness is an asset, but it's also a burden. And clearly, you're upset because you're too kind. It's, like, weird. Queen Elvina's weird.
It's like a weird, like, backhanded compliment.
Yeah. Clarion excuses herself from the meeting, fleeing to her room. We learn that Petra also finished repairing the coat Clarion's coat, as Clarion takes it out and she hugs it. Poor girl.
I know.
She feels like her only friends are in winter at this point.
Which sucks.
Yeah. And her coat is like her one reminder of her like friends across the border, or friend.
Her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Her friend that's a boy.
Yes.
Named
her friend
Milori.
Boy. Yeah. Clarion decides that she and Milori only have until the summer solstice to seal the nightmares back into their prisons, so they're kind of in a time crunch now.
Yeah. Which leads us to chapter 17. Clarion, basically, she goes to the border pretty early because she just got her brand new coat. She has a very new sense of urgency to destroy the nightmare prison, or not really destroy it, but seal it. Yeah. She's also nervous to see how her and Milori's relationship will be affected after their kiss.
Yeah.
Because they haven't seen each other for a couple of days.
Yeah.
And so when Milori shows up, Clarion realizes that she's missed him, but also that he's early. He's early.
Mm-hmm.
And he seems very cold and kind of distant. It's a little bit awkward. But Clarion is eventually able to tell Milori what Elvina has said to her. And Elvina thinks that the previous warden was possessed by the nightmares. And how she's supposed to destroy the bridge on the summer solstice, they don't know, but she's like, we need to figure it out, man.
Mm-hmm.
And Milori kind of assures her that he harbors no resentment towards the warm seasons, and that no warden has been influenced by the nightmares. Clarion asks him if he's felt anything weird lately because she's worried for him, and he tells her, I'm just tired. But it isn't the nightmares that keep me awake.
Yeah, girl. It's you. That's the implication.
You. Like, it literally says, like, he, like, cups her face and is like, it's not the nightmares that are keeping me awake, baby girl. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. And so
Yeah.
Clarion realizes he means her.
Yeah.
And she mentally relives their kiss. And Milori basically tells her that he was worried when she didn't come back. Like I said, I guess that maybe it's been a couple of nights because she had to wait for her coat to be fixed, but she still didn't come and see him.
Yeah.
And he confessed she regretted kissing him, but Clarion's like, no, I don't regret it. I don't regret it at all. So then...
Not at all.
Not at all. So now that they're kind of on the same page, they're riding on Noctura to head to the Nightmare Prison before the sun sets so they can seal them all in the lake. Clarion uses Milori's confidence. Clarion uses Milori's confidence in her to help channel her magic. And basically to reseal the Dream Talent's magic. She tells herself to see herself as Milori sees her.
Green flags.
Love it. Love to hear it. Love to hear it. So Clarion succeeds, and Milori freezes the lake over, and they celebrate by ice skating over all their hard work. Milori's thrilled, and he praises Clarion, and he asks if he can take her somewhere special. Clarion says, of course, anywhere. He takes her to the top of a mountain, and Clarion realizes this is the mountain that she looks out to. Oh, there is a statue of the first warden of the Winter Woods. She notes it almost looks like Milori.
Yeah.
There's an inscription in the ice that says, quote, in the ice and in the hearts of all of Pixie Hollow, the memory of the Lord of Winter, a true friend and steadfast protector, is preserved forever, end quote. And it is signed with the official royal insignia. Milori has basically said that this was commissioned by the first queen of Pixie Hollow herself. Clarion realizes that this is a statue. It's clearly not meant for anybody currently alive, and the statue proves Elvina's story is incorrect. So, Milori says that he owes Clarion for helping him. She assures him that if either of them owed the other, it would be her, and basically begs him to forgive himself. And Milori tells Clarion that she should forgive herself too, and that she will be an excellent queen. But Clarion's joy is kind of dampened because she realizes that she won't always be able to visit Milori in about a week and a half because of her coronation. And like now that they have solved the nightmare problem, what's really the point that they were supposed to be meeting? When Clarion confides these thoughts to Milori, he is extremely disappointed, but tries to hide it the best that he can. She confesses that she definitely likes him a lot. Girl, you love him, just say it. And Milori says she has probably known for a long time, but he feels the same. So Milori invites her to the winter coronation ball in her honor. He's trying so hard to keep her there. Like, he's trying so hard to be like, we can work this out, we can work this out, we can work this out, we can work this out.
Yeah.
And Clarion...
I'm, like, crying.
And Clarion is very wary at first. But she is won over when Milori tells her that the Winter Fairies would love it if they could meet their queen. And that ends chapter 17.
Yeah. So she kind of has to do a flip back and forth because the warm season coronation ball is the same night. So she was a little bit... But in chapter 18, it's very promising. There have been no new nightmare attacks and no destruction since Clarion and Milori sealed the prison. But the slumbering fairies, so those that are under the nightmares spell, are still asleep. They haven't awoken. And Clarion still has no clue how to save them. It's the day of the coronation ball. The actual coronation is actually in a week. Clarion is getting ready, and Artemis comes in. Artemis is wearing her full regalia, and many scout talents are being knighted tonight for protecting fairies during the nightmare attack. Clarion knows Artemis is sad because she deserves to be knighted for saving Clarion during the attack in autumn. Clarion asks Artemis why she was assigned to be her guard, even though she clearly would like to be a regular scout talent. And Artemis tells her story. When she was a brand new fairy, a hawk was going around and attacking all the fairies. The scouts were struggling to scare it off, and Artemis and one of her scout friends believed they could take care of it themselves. They were so close to driving it away when her friend ran out of pixie dust, and her friend plummeted to the ground. Artemis decided to save her friend instead of pursuing the hawk, and more fairies were lost to the hawk, and Artemis was punished for her brashness and was named Clarion's personal guard.
Which
basically
breaks my heart. That breaks my heart
yes.
for her.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what would you really do if your friend was literally gonna die?
Yeah. For real. It's like Artemis, it's not your fault kind of thing, you know? Clarion decides one of the first things she does when she's queen is free Artemis from this role.
Yes.
Petra shows up. Clarion and Petra have a tradition of doing each other's makeup before balls. Clarion teases Petra about her crush on Artemis, and they're laughing, having a good time, until Clarion remembers their fight about her coat and going back into winter. And she can't giggle about Milori with Petra or tell her about how far she's come with her magic or anything because of the wedge between them over winter. At the ball, Elvina tells her she looks like a queen and has her give a small speech. Clarion basically thanks everyone for coming and says her real speeches will be at the actual coronation. Elvina says she did a good job and that the rest of the evening is up to her. Clarion races to sneak out before anyone notices her, but Petra finds her. Petra wants to hang out with Clarion at the party because she's not a huge fan of parties in the first place, and they're supposed to be best friends. But Clarion needs to head to the winter coronation ball, so she tries making excuses. Petra knows her too well and sees right through them. Clarion eventually tells her the truth. She's going to winter. Petra is annoyed at this. They argue over Petra working for Queen Elvina and Clarion falling for the Warden of the Winter Woods. Clarion leaves without reconciling with Petra, and Petra begs Clarion to stay. Which is so sad because
it really is.
Petra's one of my favorite characters. Like, from the minute she was introduced, I was like, oh, I love Petra. And then now I'm like...
Yeah. I love Petra, too. I think that, you know, being a friend, it just kind of sucks because, like, they can't even really be friends because of their jobs. And it's, like, it's the most soul-crushing thing because it's not even, like, they've chosen to not be friends. It's, like, they're put at extremely different odds just because of the powers that be, you know, because of Queen Elvina, because of her plan. And so that kind of that sucks because it's not even them, like, you know, deciding, let's fight, like, I don't want to be friends. It's just, this is literally my job, and if I don't do this, like, I'm either going to get punished or exiled. And so, that really stinks. So, Clarion, in chapter 19, Clarion is upset the whole way to spring and winter. She's upset the whole way to the border, and when she gets there, Milori's there, looking beautiful and royal, because he's wearing an ice crown and a black cape, and she feels the joy that always accompanies her reunions with Milori, because they love each other.
Yes.
So, they ride Noctura all the way to the ball. On the way, Milori tells Clarion that he and the Keeper are working hard at trying to find a book in the Hall of Winter that may help them find out how to wake the slumbering. Clarion states that she wishes she could be there and help, and Milori offers to write to her about his findings. She accepts this offer since their mail will stop being monitored once she's the queen.
Which, just sad that her mail is monitored in the first place.
Yeah, it kind of sucks. But, like, basically, so the way that Milori describes it is, like, each keeper that comes along is very organized in their own way, which I think is crazy because everybody else is like, hey, I'm here, you're my predecessor, here's what we do, this is how we do it. The keepers just organize their stuff the way they want to, and then they just leave it for the next guy. And it's like, how freeing it must be to be the keeper. Because, like, there's, like, a whole section that's organized by numbers. There's a whole section that's organized by color. And, like, they're just like, well, whoop-de-doo, whatever. And it's like, that's so crazy to me. Like, it just kind of goes to show that it really doesn't have to be that hard, because the keeper that we see in Secret of the Wings is still happy doing his job in the most unorganized library ever. And it's probably organized to him, but it just goes to show Milori's point of, like, maybe what works for Elvina doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
And that's completely fine. So, as we move on, they make a dramatic entrance to the ball. All the winter fairies are excited to see Clarion. They give her so many gifts, ranging from ice statues to frosted flowers. And Clarion's kind of like, how am I going to get all this home? Because it's probably not even all going to last. It's going to melt. But basically, the reason that they're so excited to see her is because they're the only group of fairies that know what she's done for them. All the fairies in summer and fall and spring don't have a clue.
Nope.
So she tries all the food, visits all the booths, and Milori invites her to dance with him. And they dance. And it's her first dance. And he asks her, may I have your first dance?
This actually happened to me in my personal life. I was at my, like, first dance, and this guy I had a crush on was all like, Lucy, may I have your first dance? And I was like, yeah. Anyway, it's so cute when they do that. Anyway, tangent.
So Milori asks how she likes her first winter ball, and she tells him she loves it. Clarion begins to get very cold, and Milori and Noctura begin to fly her home. The ride is very solemn. They both know this is probably goodbye. Clarion confesses to Milori...
Sad.
Yeah, very sad. Clarion confesses to Milori that she doesn't want to leave winter. And he pulls her in close, and he says, then don't, and then kisses her again.
Yes.
And at this point, jaw is on the floor. I am sweating because this is so intense. And then he literally takes her closer to the border, puts it like the way that Alison Saft describes it is like she is on the spring side just barely, and he is on the winter side just barely, and they are like kissing, and Clarion's finally like, well, maybe this could work, and then she hears Clarion, and
Queen Elvina.
Yeah, she says.
Oh, yeah, her name, yeah.
And Queen Elvina is behind her. In scene.
Clarion? That's how I imagine Queen Elvina. Clarion? Queen Elvina, in chapter 20, we start off with Queen Elvina being, I'll give you one guess, furious! Clarion's a little embarrassed because, that was a private moment. Clarion notices that Artemis and Petra are behind Elvina. And Clarion is burned by the idea that Petra sold her out to Queen Elvina. She feels very betrayed. Queen Elvina demands to know if Clarion's interest in winter has all been about a boy. Like, for real, Clarion is...
So
Elvina's
what?
like...
So what if it has? He's hot. So what?
Milori cuts in, the noble, honorable one, and he says he's trying to defend Clarion. And Elvina looks on Milori with disgust, like, peasant, right? And Clarion's like, oh, she's so mad now, because now you're just disrespecting her man. All of Clarion's emotions bubble up to the surface, and she lets Queen Elvina have it. She accuses Queen Elvina of not protecting all of Pixie Hollow, clearly not winter. Elvina didn't listen to Clarion when she told her their magic could stop the nightmares. Elvina's history of winter is wrong. And Elvina tells her, that she has it all wrong. Elvina goes, Clarion, no, 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 no. You naive child. Listen. You think that your magic can stop the nightmares, but it can't, is what Elvina is telling her, right? We don't know why. It hasn't explained why. And or why she felt that she thinks that's correct. And then she says, and Milori is young. He may not be corrupted now, but he will in the future. He hasn't had time, you know? He hasn't spent as much time as, like, all the other wardens.
And I don't
next
care.
to the nightmares.
And I don't care.
Yeah.
So what?
We don't care, Elvina.
I can fix him.
Clarion... That's right. Clarion counters that she has never been safer than she is with Milori. Elvina states that Milori has clearly already turned Clarion against her. Clarion says, quote, no, you have turned me against you, end quote. And she tells Elvina that she has practiced trying to be like her, but it doesn't work. Winter taught her that her strength is found in being herself. Elvina is left in shock and some wonder. She's like, who is this child who I thought I knew standing before me? And they are interrupted by the darkening, sinister clouds there's some darkening, sinister clouds growing over them, and a scout talent from Winter. He breaks the news that the festival back in Winter is under attack by dozens of nightmares. Milori and Clarion are shocked to the core, filled with guilt and horror and confusion. Clarion asks Milori how they managed to escape despite their hard work, and Milori has no idea. Elvina realizes that Clarion tried to seal the nightmares away. Milori heads back into Winter to save his subjects, and Clarion decides to go with him. Elvina pleads that she not, and Clarion tells her that she has to. Nightmares have filled the sky, and they attack Clarion and Milori as they fly their way back to the festival. They manage to escape them and come up on the ruins of what minutes ago had been a joyful celebration. It seems that all of the nightmares have broken free. So not just one or two or three. All of them. Yeah, all of them. Winter fairies are dropping left and right. Scout fairies are trying to drive the nightmares off, but their arrows do nothing but, like, anger them more. A nightmare in the form of a wolf approaches Clarion. Just as it's about to attack her, a glittering gold arrow pierces the beast, sending it to the ground. Clarion looks over to see, like, where did that come from? And it's Petra in all her glory. And she and Artemis followed Clarion into Winter to help. Milori parts with Clarion as he helps his subjects make their way to the Hall of Winter and the safety it offers. Petra fills her in. She says Petra invented a crossbow that shoots arrows infused with pixie dust. They are far more effective than just the regular arrows. Artemis is also armed with one. Both of the crossbows are prototypes, but Artemis's is clearly not as well put together. It's clearly an earlier prototype than the one that Petra has. Clarion realizes that Petra has been working on this weapon for some time, and she's like, well, it must have been this, not the sword. But Petra corrects her and says that she has been working on the sword, but it didn't take as long as the bow because, big reveal here, the sword doesn't actually work.
Nope.
Redemption arc. I was so relieved. I was so happy.
I know, right?
When I heard this because I love Petra. Petra says she would have told Clarion earlier, except that she thought Clarion's plan would fix things first and it wouldn't matter anymore. Also, she just never got the chance. She's really busy. Clarion is flabbergasted that Petra lied to Queen Elvina. Petra
not
who
a liar.
Like, would never lie. Yeah. And Petra, who has anxiety, doesn't like to break the rules, lied to the queen. Artemis tells Clarion that they both believed in her, and that's why they've even gone behind Elvina's back. Petra and Clarion apologize to each other for their behavior lately. The nightmare Petra shot down begins to, twitch. It's recovering from the attack. and the girls come up with a game plan. They're going to meet Milori at the Hall of Winter, check up on all the fairies taking refuge there, and secure the entrance. Quite the turn of events.
I know, right? So, we lead into chapter 21. When Clarion and Petra and Artemis arrive at the Hall of Winter, the scene they behold is horrifying. The outside is basically swarming with nightmares. Milori and his scout talents are doing the best that they can, but they are in a desperate need of help. There's like so many, because again, all of them have broken free. So Petra and Artemis pair off, and Clarion fights back to back with Milori.
Power couple!
Her magic being their best bet at winning, because she's got the dream talent, the Stardust, in her. The goal was basically to keep the nightmares at bay until daybreak, but unfortunately Clarion is growing exhausted. She's not used to using her powers this much. So the more and more of the fairies are falling into the nightmares' attack, Milori says it's time to enter the Hall of Winter and make their last stand. Clarion is very sad, but she knows that he's correct, and Milori retrieves his scouts, and Clarion searches for Petra and Artemis. She finds them in the heat of a battle with a bobcat nightmare. She witnesses the mutilation of Artemis's leg as the bobcat catches her in its teeth, which is pretty horrifying. It says like she like shrieks in pain. And Petra gets hit with nightmare venom, and it sends her crashing into a tree, and now she is in a terror-filled slumber. So Clarion's mortification, Clarion is basically mortified, and she loses all will to blast. Like she freaks out, and she basically like sends this huge surge of light and power throughout like the entire valley as she's like screaming out for her friend, and then boom, everything is silent. They are the nightmares are incinerated by her power, and then Clarion is left basically drained, and she falls to her knees.
Yeah, and being in winter definitely helped because Alison Saft writes that the ice reflected the light everywhere, so it's just like a disco ball, basically.
Yeah.
And then in chapter 22, Clarion, she's so weak from like exerting herself to that point. She was already cold at the party, and it's like hours or so later now at this point. But she crawls over to Petra, and she's so ready to give up. She's like, my friends. Milori arrives with Yarrow and has Petra and Artemis taken care of. Yarrow tells Milori that she can't help Clarion, who is falling in and out of consciousness. Clarion's glow is almost completely dimmed, which can't be good.
Yeah, for real.
She needs to go home. Milori vows to keep Clarion alive, whatever it takes. Yarrow reminds him that he will break his wings if he crosses the border into spring. Milori knows this, of course. He says he will check if anyone is waiting at the border for Clarion before he thinks of crossing. Riding on Noctura on the way to the border, Clarion is floating in and out of consciousness. In one of her waking periods, Milori begs her to stay with him. She asks him to talk to her. Milori tells her how he witnessed her star fall. He says he even made a wish. Yeah, and he even made a wish. Clarion asks him what it was, and he tells her that he wanted to be free from the nightmares so he wouldn't have to guard them his whole life, and also so that they wouldn't ever have to worry about them getting loose. Clarion promises that she will still do everything in her power, what little is left of it anyway, to make his wish come true. Clarion awakes again, this time at the border. Milori has been pacing, trying to decide whether to cross or not, and no one is waiting for her. Like, what the flip, Queen Elvina? Like, she couldn't have waited. He ultimately decides to cross. Clarion weakly tries to convince him not to, but she and Milori know she will die if he doesn't take her. Milori tells her that he will sacrifice his wings if it means he can save her.
He literally
and Clarion realizes.
He literally says, ugh, she's like, your wings are going to break off. And he's like, weighted against your life. They mean nothing. They
Oh,
mean
swoon!
big.
So tragic, but so romantic. In that moment, Clarion realizes that they love each other.
Yeah.
She even says, how beautiful for me to be able to witness him fall in love with me. So they cross the border, and Milori asks where to take her, and she responds to Feverfew Fields, which is near the border of summer and autumn, because of course it's deep within the warm seasons. They have to cross through spring, well into summer, to get to the autumn border. That's a lot of heat. Milori is overheating fast, despite Noctura's speed. Clarion worries for him the whole way. By the time they arrive, Milori is weakening. He's like sweating. It's really hot. But he carries her into the clinic. Like, it's not great. While Clarion is fussed over by the healing talents, she is worried for Milori. Milori's wings are melting and dripping. She can like hear the water just like falling to the ground from his wings.
Drip.
Clarion's wings are translucent. She hears a comment about how they're translucent, which that can't be good either.
Yeah, for real.
Clarion loses track of time as she's still losing consciousness frequently. Milori remains steadfast at her bedside. When Clarion is awake, she begs him to go back to Winter to try and save his wings. Milori refuses every time. At one point, Clarion overhears a conversation between Elvina and Milori. Milori won't leave until he knows Clarion is going to be okay. My heart, it's breaking. He loves her
so much.
Yes. Elvina admonishes him to leave before it's too late to save his wings, then thanks him for saving Clarion. Milori mentions that Clarion would do the same for him and that, quote, she's worth protecting, end quote.
I love him.
Yes. We love him. We love him too, Clarion. I mean, we totally get you, girl.
Like, how am I gonna watch Secret of the Wings again and, like, this is just so crazy.
Yeah.
Who
would have thought?
Not me.
I did not. I thought, oh, what a cute little book, blah, blah, blah.
Well, I thought that,
I remember Tinkerbell.
I thought that what had happened was, like, they basically just, like, fell in love, and then he stayed over there too long or something, and then his wings cracked. I didn't realize it was this heart gut-wrenching.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought too. I thought, oh, they're going to be like working together, and then he goes over into the warm seasons, is like, well, we got to work over here, and then like, oopsies. But no. The stakes are way higher.
I know. It's like
way better. Way better for a book. So far, so good. Yeah.
Well, and then I just
Alison Saft did a beautiful job.
I just hope
is doing a beautiful job.
I hope that we have like some sort of epilogue, like, to the book. I hope that the book doesn't end with them like deciding for good that the warm seasons and the winter seasons shouldn't be together. You know, I hope that it takes us into a little bit of an epilogue of after Secret of the Wings.
Ooh.
Or something. Like, that's what I'm really hoping, because I know how it ends. Obviously, I know they end up kissing in the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm also like, now, like, every time I see them go in for the kiss in the movie, I'm going to remember of the way that she, like, described their very first kiss.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. So that concludes our chapter reading, and now we're going to move on into the questions.
Mm-hmm. So, for first question, I'll put I wrote a hard question that I'm not even sure I really know why yet, and we might learn later on, or if it's even important at all, or it's just a beautiful writing thing that Alison Saft did, but I'll leave that one for last. And then anybody who watches, if you have made it this far and are still listening, please comment what you think. And if you noticed it while you were reading or just while listening to our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So, first question. What do you think of Queen Elvina's reaction when she learns that Clarion used her magic in an attempt to stop the nightmares? Because Queen Elvina kind of goes, wait, you tried to use your magic to stop... You tried to use your magic to seal the prison, didn't you? It's like almost as if Clarion made a mistake when she did that.
Yeah,
So why do you...
I think that maybe, I think maybe there was a little bit of a mistake there, but I also think that there's a sense of like pride. Like, I'm proud of you for finally using your magic, because up until this point, we're basically told that like she hasn't really used her magic at all.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm wondering if there's a little bit of pride in there too. But maybe there was something that, they didn't, that she knows that she didn't convey to them, and was an issue,
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. I just thought of Queen Elvina maybe knowing something. Like, again, she left something out.
Yeah.
But I like that because it even says that Elvina's left with some wonder. So clearly she's probably like, it must have taken a lot of magic to do that. So it could be a little bit of both, for sure.
Yeah. Or maybe, like, it's something that she's tried before and she couldn't do it. Like, maybe the dream talent only exists in some governing fairies, ?
Oh. There's an idea. So Clarion's unbridled emotions often influence her magic, as we are well aware of.
Mm-hmm.
After the events in these chapters, do you think Clarion should have listened to Queen Elvina about being in control of her powers?
I think that as far as how she gets her powers going, no. Because obviously different emotions, like different fairies have different ways of bringing upon their magic, I'm assuming. But as far as controlling it, I think that Clarion needed to learn a little bit more about how to control it, because obviously she's exhausted now. Like, yeah, I have all my powers, but what good is it going to be if she dies trying,
Yeah. I think it's true that she does learn differently, and I don't think it was entirely bad. The advice that Milori gave her to, well, Milori was like, just, yeah, be yourself, and then he's like, magic is inherent. There's loads of fairies that are just born knowing what to do.
Yeah.
It's instinctual. And he's like, use your instincts, Clarion. I think that's good advice. But definitely Clarion is young, and I think the lack of control definitely is part of why she is almost dead. Is dying. Especially that burst. I wonder if there have ever been, like, when they use all their magic, do they die? Like, does their magic run out? Do you have to ration it? Like,
well, I wonder if she has to take like a bath in pixie dust or something. Like, that's what I was thinking. Is like she's gonna have to rejuvenate by some sort of star, or maybe the summer solstice. Maybe that will heal her.
Oh.
Like, maybe that's what needs to happen. Like, we mentioned the sunstone. Maybe something with that is going to have to help her, because the sun is a star. So I wonder how that's going to work, how they're going to heal her.
Yeah. I believe we only have, there's 28 chapters?
27. We have 5 more.
So we have just 5 left, yeah. So we'll see. And the last question, the hard question, which is sort of like something I noticed, but also just, I wonder if it's just an artistic writing thing she did, or if there's going to be something poignant toward the story. But each of the seasonal ministers gave Clarion advice when she met with them individually. Rowan told her to trust her instincts. Iris told her to be patient with herself. Aurelia told her to take her time and think about who she wants to become, and Milori told her not to blame herself for things she can't control. What do you think these bits of advice reflect about each season?
Okay. So we're from Texas, so like the seasons are kind of whack here. But as far as my understanding, I think that like Rowan controls fall. Trust her instincts. I think that fall is very much like it's hot and then it's not. At least here, it's like it's hot and then it's really, really cold. And you have to just kind of trust, especially with like certain crops and stuff, just trust that they're, they're instinctually not going to die leading to winter. The Iris controls spring, and she told her to be patient with herself. I think that in spring, at least here, you have to be very patient with the weather, very patient with like all the rain that's coming, all the, disaster that could bring, but you have to be patient in order to reap the benefits. Like April showers bring May flowers, stuff like that. Aurelia told her to take her time and think about who she wants to become. And she kind of gives this whole like spiel about how in the human world we can choose to either lay in bed all day in the summer or do everything we need to do in one day. And I think that the summer is a very relaxing time. I think that tells about summer in a way that's like she said, you can either do nothing or you can do everything all at once. And the summer gives you a lot of time to think because, like, at least in my case, you're not in school, or you're, whatever. You can go on vacation. It gives you a lot of time to think. And then Milori told her to not blame herself for things she can't control. Well, oh goodness. Sorry, somebody's revving their engine in here. But like, in winter, like freeze overs happen. Blizzards happen. Things that are so completely and utterly out of our control, and it's just gonna happen. And all we can do is take shelter or protect what we have. Much like the Winter Warden, the nightmares are completely and utterly out of his control. He can't do anything about them. And so I think that it kind of portrays each season with different expectations, for what their season is supposed to offer and how it comes to offer them.
Yeah. I like that. I think also to add about autumn, when you were talking about that, I just thought about trees.
Yeah.
I thought about trees because the trees, they lose their leaves. And they instinctually do that because it gets colder. And so they lose their leaves because they know they can't, well, they're going to die anyway. So they lose their leaves. And then I guess it's in spring, they wait for them to grow. And then.
Yeah, but it's a very long process. So you have to be patient.
Yeah. Yep. Keyword. That's what Iris told her. And so, yeah, I think that was really beautiful writing. I think that was really cool that the author did that. I kind of started to catch on after Iris because I was like, she's going to get a little bit of advice from each season, I think. So, and it's going to be different. It's going to say something about each of them or their season. So, yeah, good discussion.
All right. So, let's see. We have 6 minutes. Well, so the next book that we're going to be reading is The Mill on the Floss. I forgot who it's by, but we're going to basically be doing like a classic sort of thing. Because we haven't read a classic on
it's
here
by
yet.
George. Yeah, it's by George Eliot.
George Eliot. So, stay tuned for that book, because after we finish these 5 chapters, that's what we're moving on to.
Yes. The next 5 chapters are chapter 23 through 27. Those are our last 5. We'll be sad to part with it, but we'll tell you all about our reactions to the very end.
Yep.
next week.
All right. Well, until we see you next week, we will be slinging words and pills to pay the bills. And thanks for tuning in, and bye-bye.